Hi folks, Dave with dbstechtalk. Today we're going to talk about reference and mixing and what gear do I use. So we're going to do a review of a product that has completely changed my mind when it comes to reference and mixing. But first, I just want to kind of give you an overview of what other gear I use. First thing is when it comes to testing out new gear, listening to DACs and amps and new music and that type of stuff, you have to have a beverage of choice. And so Folgers 1850 is just, I don't know, something that I've been drinking a lot lately. The black and white tastes great. No sponsorship, just a recommendation. If you like refrigerated cold brew coffees. Folgers 1850 black and white. There you go. Got some other recommendations in that regards. If you want, hit me up on Discord and I'll give you some recommendations. Really though, what gear is used? And that's kind of important, you know, and so as I've mentioned before, I kind of have to have a benchmark, and consistency as a reviewer is important. And so my new benchmark that I just transitioned over to within the last couple months is the Mytek Liberty DAC amp. You can barely see it there, right here. And I really do enjoy a very neutral and natural sounding in my opinion. And I really do enjoy the Mytek Liberty a whole lot. As far as other amplifiers I use the THX AAA 789 from Drop and truly enjoy that. I find that it's very clean, clear, and just a very revealing amplifier. Headphones. To the most part, I've only used two headphones, usually in that process for comparing to other gear and to be kind of seeing if it's in line with what my preferences are and what I believe would be natural and neutral. And those would be the Sennheiser HD600s and the MrSpeakers Ether C. And I really do truly enjoy both of those headphones. I'll put links down below for the reviews on those. And I found that they just reveal the information very well. Sennheiser HD600 is my reference when it comes to vocals, tone, and timbre. And then the Ether C is for a linear sound and for also detail retrieval, resolution, soundstage, depth, and layering. I find that the Ether Cs really excel in that. Also, they're very good with tone and timbre for planar. I find that that was very competent comparisons, and I was able to really understand what I was hearing in differences, and you know, being able to dissect different music, and also being able to really dissect as far as what the other gear was sharing with me. And then also another item that I use a lot are the red speakers that you have seen in the background here. And those are the Kanto Yumis. Now they're not the most referenced, not the most natural sounding speaker out there. But what I do enjoy about them is they give me a overall, what would these sound like, an enjoyment type of factor. And so I'm able to kind of compare that. Also, they give me a nice soundstage and a nice way of being able to hear spatial awareness. And so when I do a video, I'll always go back through after I add in my little bit of editing. Now, go ahead and laugh about editing. I don't do a whole lot of editing. As most of you know, I leave in all the flaws, and I leave in most of the spaces and gaps and thoughts and pauses, just because I want it to be like I'm talking to you, and because I want it to be a more natural situation for the overall video. And so editing is a very word, you know, editing. Anyways, I do go in and I add in a little bit of tweaks. You know, I might put in some writing to tell you what we're talking about, and some, you know, you have to go in and add in the closing parts of it where you have things pop up on the screens, various things like that. But I don't normally do any cutting and mashing things together and mixing them all together. But I do use my headphones and the speakers that I just listed to test the final product after I've added in music and stuff like that, just to make sure that my microphone volume was okay, make sure the music isn't too loud or too quiet or too annoying, And also to make sure that there aren't any weird noises. Like a lot of times it always seems like my neighbor tends to mow his grass while I'm doing my videos. Thankfully it's raining out today, so he doesn't have to do that. But a lot of times you can hear that in the background, and I want to see if it's too annoying or too much of a frustration. Sometimes a mailman decides to pull up and the dogs just go crazy. Things like that. And so I'm testing for that, listening for those. I'm also listening to see if it sounds natural, see if it sounds accurate, and whether or not there's peaks and valleys. If I'm not happy with it, I'll re-record it. And I do record my videos straight through. So as soon as I hit the record button, I start talking. And when I'm done blabbering, I hit the end button and that's the video. So sometimes it'll take 20 takes. If I just totally botch up the video in the middle of it, then I have to restart. And that's my choice of how to do videos. And that's how I do it. So my mixing and editing is a little different than a lot of other people. But with all that being said, I started getting recommended a headphone, and they really started saying, you need to listen to these. These are like flatter than flat, neutral, but very accurate and tonally correct. And I'm like, oh, I've had a couple of things come through that said that they were neutral and flat, and they were like piercing, cold, just way too much for my ears. I don't know. And they're like, no, you've got to try these. They actually sound natural. And so I was like, okay. And just to clarify, natural to me is, how does things in the real world sound to me with using my ears? When I'm walking around, when I go to a concert, when I'm talking with people, how does the voicing, how does the tones and everything play together? How does the soundstage play? That's what natural means to me. Is, am I listening to a song with headphones on or speakers on, and does it sound like I don't have headphones on or speakers on? Does it sound realistic or does it sound artificial? And a lot of times things sound artificial. And so I was a little curious. And so people were like, you got to try out Allo. And I was like, okay, I will try out Allo. And they're like, specifically try out the S4X. And so I went to Allo via email. I didn't drive all the way to or fly to Slovenia, but I sent them an email and I said, hey, I'm really interested in reviewing your product. Here's some information for my channel. Is there any way that we can get a loan, that I could get a loaner of your S4X? And they're like, we don't really do loans, but here is a 50% discount if you would like that, and then give us just a fair review. And I was like, okay, for one, 50% discounts are awesome. I think I've never gotten a 50% discount except for like from Kohl's when I was, shopping. And then it had all these limitations. You got to only buy this, and you can only do this, and it has to be within this time frame, and blah, 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 blah. Allo didn't put any restrictions other than just giving an honest opinion. And so I was like, I can't turn that down. And so I took advantage of their 50% discount, purchased the S4Xs, and they came all the way from Slovenia within about 10 days. I was really surprised at how quick they came and very impressed. Sorry, I need to drink my Folgers again. So anyways, it comes, and it came in this box. And I'm like, wow, all the way from Slovenia. This thing either has insane packaging inside, or Allo just doesn't care about their, headphones. I mean, normally when things come, especially if they come international, they're like really well packaged. I mean, you got them like crammed inside another box and all kinds of foams and all kinds of stuff. And this one came in the box, and I'm like, okay. And also, it says exactly what the product is. So if any of my neighbors were wanting a pair of Allo S4Xs, they would look down my porch and we were like, oh, Dave got some S4Xs and get them for free. But anyways, so they came in this box. Very small, actually. I mean, it's like hand size, maybe a little bit bigger. And I was a little taken back by that, but that's okay. Opened them up, and they've got a little seal up on top here. And then you open it up again, and you get an envelope. which is a nice touch. It says Allo. Undo the flaps and you get some paperwork inside. So you get an important do not, and that they do not want you to press the ear cups against your head. Gives you some reasons for it. You also get a owner's manual, and inside the owner's manual you get some safety tips, some features and technical data, some tips and tricks, use case scenarios, warranty information, which has a 5-year warranty. That's just craziness. Alright, so some features of the unit. Has a 50mm dynamic inside it. It is neodymium magnets, 32 ohms of impedance, 108 decibels of sensitivity. Comes with detachable cables which terminate in 2.5mm to 3.5. Have replaceable ear pads. That's pretty much it. I mean, it works with everything. Oh, it has a frequency range of 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. And I thought that was kind of interesting because, you know, some headphones you can get some insane frequency range. Oh, this goes down to 5 hertz to 85 kilohertz. You know, and you're like, because ears can hear that far. But anyways, the wood cups are made of American walnut, and the ear pad diameter is 90 millimeters. They weigh 350 grams. So anyways, you get some nice information in there. You also get a certificate of authenticity, which I think is a nice touch. It gives you the model number, which is S4X. Gives you a date. So it was created on July 17th of 2020, and it was inspected by, I don't know what that guy's name is, but it looks like it says Dad. And then it gives you your serial number. Actually, it's inspected by Rock Gulick, who is the CEO. It says on the other side there. So that's cool. Rock did it. But I'm sorry, Rock. Your signature looks like Dad. Which is cool. And it's better in my handwriting, I will say that. Then also, you get a frequency graph. It does list your serial number, which matches up with the serial number on the certificate of authenticity. And then it'll tell you the date that they measured it, which is July 17th of 2020. And it tells you the temperature was 23 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity was 50%. And it gives you some other information. And again, it has a signature of who did it, and that's really neat. And if you look at this graph, that is really flat. And when I saw that, I was kind of like, You can manipulate graphs. So are they doing something to make it just come super flat to be impressive, or do they actually live up to that? And so I was like a little curious. Then you get a carrying bag. Does have a little bit of Ollo branding on it. Not leather, but it's very nice. It has a leatherish feel. And then you get this very interesting packing. And there are your headphones. And that is literally the way that they came. Was sitting in the package like that. I'm like, wow. I mean, normally they have foam going all around and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, that's quite impressive. And so inside this little package, which says hand built on the edge of the Alps. Of course, Slovenia is between Italy and Croatia. So when you open this, you get your cable, which is inside here. It's not a bad little cable. I'm okay with it. It's not my favorite, but it's not awful. Get a little bit of strain relief. It is a screw-on, so you got 3.5 millimeter, and then you got your 1/4 inch. It's got a fabric feel to it. Doesn't tangle. Goes to a little hard plastic, and then it's got red. And my only real complaint is on the 2.5 millimeters, there's a little bit of writing, but it's really hard to read, and there's no color coding for like right and left. If they had done the letters maybe in red and in black or blue or something like that, the differentiate would have been a little bit nicer of a touch. It's not a bad cable. And then here are your headphones. And you've got those American walnut cups. They're just beautiful. Your ear cups do rotate 360 degrees. You've got that stainless steel top on it. A very nice nautical leather suspension strap. And I find that they are very comfy, nice and tight spring load, but not enough to like vice grip your head. Ear pads are slightly small. I only can get barely 2.5 knuckles. If I do 3, it's like touching the outside of my fingers. So it's a little small. They tend to be more like large on ears or small over ears. I don't have the largest of ears, but I don't have small ears. And these barely fit over my ear. When I put them on, my ears barely fit inside there. But as far as clamp force, dispersion, all that is perfect. No complaints there whatsoever. Got a little bit of branding here. It says Allo Audio. One other thing that's kind of disconcerting is when you adjust, you can hear it. You can hear the metal. If you touch the headband, you can hear it. It just kind of tings. And you can hear it reverberating into the ears. You can hear the sounds. Not my favorite. Once music starts, you don't hear it. Once they settle in place, you don't hear it. But it's while you're adjusting it, moving it around, things like that, you can really hear the metal just kind of touching and grinding and moving. No indicators for right or left, so they're universal. Each cup can either be right or left. And that's where the cable frustration comes in, because there's no indication of which is which. And it doesn't matter when you're plugging them in. So there's your left and there's your right. And if you have them on your head, you know which one's which, you just pop them on. But if you happen to take your headphone off and you set them down and you're going to go pick them up, if you don't remember how you set them down, or you don't set them down the same way every single time, or they get moved, things like that, you'll have to take a quick look and try to find that really hard to see L and R. It's just kind of a frustration. So if you have some way of maybe putting an indicator on there, cool. Might help you out a little bit. Of course, you can use third-party cables, which will eliminate that issue. And if you're going to use these with a balanced cable, you're going to have to go third party anyways. So I don't have an issue with that really that much. It's just a little tiny frustration. The more annoying frustration is the noise that the headband makes. But after all of that, I got these and everybody was like, you got to try them, you got to try them. They're insanely good, neutral, natural sounding. And so I then proceeded to pop them on my head and started listening to music, and immediately I was in wow factor. It was like all these people that said I needed to try these, they know what they're talking about. Now, this isn't going to be a super technical, detailed, amazing, go through the frequency graph type of review. This is more of an experience of why I use these for reference. So as I said, I already used the Ether Cs and 600s and my Cantu Yumis. And I found that the Ether Cs were the most revealing and detailed, and that the 600s were a little more tonally and timbre correct. And so that's kind of how I was judging things. And now I have found one that does it all. I still use the Yellers because I believe that you should test your mixes and your final productions on multiple items and multiple gear. But I find that these are my go-to. So bass is very linear. It's very extends well. You can get the sub-bass detail and information. It's not the most impactful, but you will know for sure that it is that your sub bass is there and that it's clean and clear. It's not distorting. And then your mid bass and upper bass are very well detailed as well. And I find that the bass has excellent tone and very good texture. And you can get very good spacing and isolation of your instruments and of your sounds down in there. And I found that it is a very fast attack and decay, and it's in and out. It's very accurate. And then the mids are very nicely done. You have lots of detail, lots of information that is very balanced and cohesive. Everything just kind of flows. It sounds very natural. Vocals are even across the way. So if you have a mixed group singing, you don't have the males being a little distant from the females or vice versa. Instruments are very well balanced. Everything is isolated and separated out. You can tell exactly which each instrument is. Tone and timbre of the instruments is spot on. In my opinion, this is the best sounding tone and timbre. And then as you move into the treble is extremely accurate and but yet smooth. So it's not a cold analytical. It has a very nice, smooth, and well-controlled sound. If there is sibilance, if there is harshness in the treble in your mix, you definitely will hear it. If there are inaccuracies in it, you're going to hear it, whether it be in the treble, in the mids, or in the bass. It's a very revealing headphone, and I do enjoy that very much. And so you know exactly what you're getting from your mix. As far as testing music or new gear, I find that these are extremely good for being able to go in and go, okay, on this song between the 1 minute and 2 minute mark, there is this background hiss, whatever, on this one headphone. Is it on here? And you can go in and verify whether or not you actually hear that hiss or if it's being produced by something funky going on with the other headphone or your speakers or whatever. I find that these are very accurate and revealing and very true to nature. I really do enjoy the natural sound, the tone and timbre of these, and all across the way in the bass, the mids, and the treble. The only thing that kind of is a little bit of a disappointment is the soundstage is not quite as wide, so everything's just a little bit intimate, and it's a little bit close. And so sometimes when you have things traveling across, the soundstage kind of drops it off. It doesn't quite go all the way out and finish through. And it's a subtle complaint, but it's enough to kind of be an annoyance at times. But what they really do well is depth and layering and good height in the soundstage. I find that they do a very good job of placement and very good job of being accurate. Sorry, this is to the right, this is to the left, this is kind of center right, things like that. Okay, that's really far forward in the mix. He must be standing directly in front of everybody else, or that's really far back. And they do a really good job in that, in the imaging and placement. And I find that they have a very nice airiness to the sound. Everything sounds natural, as I was saying, just like my ears would hear at a concert, or just like my ears hear things here in the neighborhood or in life in general. I find that the Allo S4X does a really good job of portraying that. They do not sound artificial in any way. So when it comes down to mixing and editing my final product, and also for testing new music and new gear, the Allo S4X is my first reach for an open back headphone. The Ether C still remains my first reach for a closed back headphone. And the HD 600 still stays as my vocal and tone and timbre reach. And so now I have 3 headphones that I use in my testing and comparisons of other gear, and also the Kanto Yumis get thrown into that mix, because you have to have speakers to be able to hear sound stage placement, also just for an enjoyment factor, because the Kanto Yumis are a fun speaker. Excuse me. So anyways, the Allo S4X, highly recommend them if you're looking for a reference mixing headphone, and also if you just like a true natural flat sound signature. Here you go. There's no colorization added in. That frequency graph that Allo provides seems to be spot on accurate. Well, folks, this has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen is notification and subscription links, and also check out the links down below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, we have a giveaway that's going to be happening at 2.5K subscribers. And the way that you can get involved in that is to join Discord. You have to live in the USA, and you can get some great items to be given away. Check out the links down below for Discord, and then check out the pins in the announcements and in the Anything Audio lounges on my Discord for more information, or you can just DM me and I'll let you know of the details. Almost to 2.5K subs. Awesomeness. Don't forget about the giveaway. Don't forget to sign up. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next video.